we're going to Australia. And Rachel Brunsden, who's a radio host in Melbourne, Australia. I lived in Melbourne. It's a beautiful city. And Rachel is here. Now, Rachel, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. Now, there's been a lot of talk, of course, about Australia's reaction to the death of the Queen. We talked in depth about American reaction, but for Australia, it's something different, isn't it? It's staunchly Republican premier at the moment, and it looks likely that Australia will separate from the Queen. Is that going to happen, do you think? Or from the monarchy?
No time soon. You're right. Our new Prime Minister is a Republican, and he has come out himself and said this is not a conversation that will happen in his term. And the thing is, with us and New Zealand, we've got other things on the boil in terms of referendums and things that we're dealing with currently that are, frankly, of higher importance than whether or not we stay in the Commonwealth. And it serves nobody's interest to leave right now. One, out of respect, and two, economically it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose to leave, particularly for a smaller country like New Zealand and the other smaller nations. Economically, it serves no interest to become a republic right now. But they did a poll because for us it's more about the Queen than it is about the monarchy. So it was never going to happen while she was alive, for sure. But then afterwards, what was the temperature going to be? But we've got a really unique relationship with King Charles because he spent all that time here as a young man in Geelong at Timbertop. So he's really attached to Australia in a really special way. And we've always liked the cut of his jib anyway. So now that he's king, the temperature on it's changed. They've done a poll recently and 60% of Australians are of the view that this should never happen, which is a lot. And it's 60%. You think, oh, well, that's quite middly, but it's really not. And this is not a conversation they want to have. Our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who, as I said, is a Republican, as you said, he came out this morning in the middle of Sydney and said, this is what we're doing. We're going to barrel down the middle of the CBD and knock out this dirty old building standing behind me, and we're going to create a new space called the Queen Elizabeth II Place, where it will be pure garden from the centre of the CBD right down to the harbour.
Wow.
The Republic has been all about not being a republic and not wanting to have this conversation, and this not happening within the first 3 years of his being Prime Minister, because then there'll be an election. But they've got to be really gentle and careful about the way they did it. The last time they had a referendum about this was in 1999, and it failed beyond measure. And it was the way it was worded, I think. So if they don't tread very, very carefully with the way they word it, it'll die a slow death yet again. But to have that conversation now is wildly inappropriate and just on the nose for most of us. And I just think it's unnecessary to have that conversation now. It's something we can discuss later. I think it's inevitable that it will happen at some stage, but it serves no interest right now. And to be honest, Britain hasn't told us what to do in quite a while. You know that we're the weird drunk cousins at the end of the Christmas table, and you pretty much just say, good on you, and leave us alone.
Yeah, you are definitely the naughty ones, aren't you? But it is an interesting thing because Jacinda Ardern came out and said, absolutely, New Zealand is staying where it is. And as you're alluding to, the Commonwealth often gets mixed up with the Empire, right? And they are two very separate things, and people don't. It seems they don't seem capable, or they're not historically astute enough to realise that the two, are different. And the Commonwealth is now a voluntary trading organisation, and it is interesting to me to see so many countries now wanting a referendum on leaving what is actually a very successful trading bloc, but because it has, I don't know, memories or a touch of empire to it.
Yeah, there's always the sting of past, but there's a sting of past in everything. I mean, we were founded by people who basically decimated an Indigenous population, and that's actually one of the referendum that we have coming up, which we view as more important. There's a referendum coming called The Voice, and what we're going to do is put a referendum out to alter the Constitution to give Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders a stronger voice and put that in our Constitution so that that's an official thing. And that's a really important piece of business to take care of before we even get near a referendum about the Commonwealth, about leaving the Commonwealth. It's if you object to having a foreign head of state, this is a ceremonial, it's a figurehead. We are much more involved with you guys in terms of our economics and the way we trade with each other and the way we thrash you at the Commonwealth Games and all those interesting things. So,
can't resist it, can they? The Aussies can't resist. It's a very interesting thing. Though. What is the response? Because I would have thought with a Republican premier that now is a good time, right? You would be going, right, the Queen's dead. We can opt out now without offending her. People are expecting us to do it. And I'm surprised that his voice isn't stronger in that direction, but he is showing due deference. What about the people of Australia? It's very different to the the management of it. Often the government of it is the people. How have the people responded to this?
Yes, I mean, the Queen's beloved, and it doesn't matter what nation you sit in, whether you're Commonwealth or not. She's just was a remarkable human being who did remarkable things over an extraordinary amount of time under some really horrid circumstances at the best of time. And we're mourning her just like you guys are. Our Republican PM has announced National Day of Mourning next week.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Where we'll all take the day and respect will be paid. And I think for the temperature for now for everybody is leave well enough alone. This is not a conversation for right now. And let's see what this nice King Charles does, because as I say, we have a special relationship.
Yeah, true.
It's going to happen now. So, I think it's just not something, and Anthony Albanese's played this very smart politically. He doesn't want to upset a good portion of the people who put him in office. And there is a minister, which I thought was wildly hilarious. When he became Prime Minister, he appointed a minister for the Republic. And before Her Majesty passed away, there's this television campaign that they've launched with all these people from various walks of life going, I think it's time, we'll be right, thanks anyway. And I thought,
that is amazing. Yeah, what a waste of money that was. I tell you, I lived both in Sydney and in Melbourne, and I always say to people, Sydney is like America and Melbourne is like England. I think it's the most British city there. It's a wonderful, wonderful city, and I look forward to getting back there. Rachel, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you. I've really enjoyed that. Great to talk to you. We'll thrash you at rugby or something like that.
You always do.
Yeah, I know. It's a given, isn't it? Rachel Brunsden, thank you very much indeed, radio host in Melbourne in Australia. Stay with us here on Talk TV. We're heading to America next.